Hi, Lori Block here to give you an update on our GiveSendGo campaign. Thank you so much. There have been many generous donations and gifts. We totally appreciate it. Thus far, between what has come through the GiveSendGo, which is about $2,990, and an additional amount of checks sent by just people who saw it and said, I'd like to send you a check, we've raised over $3,000, and we're completely grateful. Thank you. As you know, we've been trying to raise money to buy a very, very inexpensive but decent motorhome. And we are asking for $40,000 in the hopes that we'll be able to get our wheels back because we take our animals with us. So we explain that. You can see pictures of the animals. We've had animals with us for years and years. At one time we had 5 dogs on board. That was really amazing. The animals are a priority. We are not going to leave them in kennels while we're on the road. So essentially, since shutdowns, we and many other people had to not go on the road. There were canceled shows galore. And then as it sort of rolled back into regular people going out, people coming to shows, our tour bus was broken down, so it was kind of like, will we ever do this again? And then of course we got pretty broke because when you're not on the road and you're a musician, I mean, that's where most of your money will come from. And we're not talking huge money either. We're just talking like you can pay your bills, and that's cool. And people think from the outside, they probably think that you have more money than you have. I mean, I could tell you the story of how I got my first motorhome, and it wasn't from having a lot of money. It was because the Gulf War had started, and we had done a few shows, and I had a couple thousand in my pocket from the shows. Hi, Gibby. And things just suddenly seemed to be too cramped in my little Pinto station wagon and my Chrysler minivans that I was touring in. So I just had a dream, and I sat up and I said, we've got to get a motorhome. And it was like insanity, but it was the Gulf War, and the little tiny buses were going, they were giving them away, basically, because gasoline had skyrocketed. So we were in Detroit, where all the motorhomes are, you know, there's dealerships everywhere. And we went and looked at something, and I ended up buying one of them, little cab overs. So every so often I would trade in the one that I had and get another one. And I never ended up having to spend a lot of money on them because the recession had set in, and then the bigger vehicles cost less. I was very lucky. Sometimes I got more for the trade-in than I owed the bank. So one thing led to another, and finally got this bigger bus, which I love, absolutely love it. It's perfect for us with the animals. But it's got 340,000 miles that we put on it. That's my 4th bus. And it's totally broken down now. It's going to need, you know, a vast amount of repair. So either we don't go on the road at all, or we try to raise a little bit of money, and we kind of go back to square one, where we had what's called a cab over. And we found a cab over that we think is good enough to have us all rolling back down the road together. The dogs are our priority. When we're on the road, we take them to rest areas and find nature trails. We take them to state parks. We walk them before we do sound check. We check them during the show. First thing in the morning, they go out wherever we're parked. The dogs, and now Jack, and some cats have come with us on the road the past 2. They're the priority. So we love them, they're our family, and we don't want to leave them behind. Taylor, come here, honey. Come on, say hi. This is Taylor. All of our dogs, all of our animals are rescues. I shed a lot of tears about him before I got him because he ran off again after we didn't let him in right away because he was wearing a collar. We thought, oh, he's somebody else's dog. And we called all around, and it turned out that someone who saw him as a stray dog put a collar on him, but that person ended up not being able to keep track of him because he was running all over the place. It's a miracle that he didn't get hit by a car or attacked by wild animals. I mean, he's really an amazing, amazing dog. So finally, through one way or another, circuitous route, he came to us. Yes, you're a good boy. And no one in the area knew whose dog he was, so he became ours, and we adore him. Gibby, the same thing. Someone came up the road and said, is this your dog? And he said, no. And then they drove up and down the hill a couple of times. You want to take this dog? And we said, Rob thought we didn't need more dogs because at that time we had other dogs. So this is why a motorhome for us is the only way to tour. And I just got a new label, and I just got a booking agent again, which I haven't had for a long time since shutdowns. And they really want you to tour when you release a record. Our record's coming out soon. If you would like to make a donation, we're trying to raise $40,000, which is essentially all the costs rolled into one. And we have already gotten from the GiveSendGo, we've gotten $2,990 thus far. That's fantastic. And we've also gotten another $685 from people who just said, I'd like to send a check, I'd like to send a check. I'm like, okay, so that means we've made over basically $3,000 thus far. So we have, some 37 more to go. But whatever you can send, it's gonna go towards keeping us from going into a long-term payment arrangement for this little bus. But that's how we like to tour, and that's the only way we can tour. I do have a pickup truck, doesn't fit all the animals, and it's definitely in need of repairs. It would never make it to California and back. It's a wonderful old farm vehicle now, it looks pretty and all, but it's starting to get some mechanical problems, as you might imagine. So it's time for us to have this tour vehicle so that we can take our animals and go down the road and come to a city near you.